So almost exactly halfway into the book here, I have my favorite paragraph. Now I decided to do this quicker as we're going to go through much of the book together, but I want to get this established fairly quickly because it probably is my favorite part, the favorite paragraph of the entire book. It's foundational in many ways. It is at the center, and so many thoughts and ideas can come from this. But it's such an empowering phrase, especially coming off of Easter weekend, how important it is to embrace what this exact truth is. So we'll start with this simple little concept again. This number one, such a simple concept. You have this thing called the Spirit, you could call it the light, capital U, meaning the eternal you. I drew it like a little blob, spiritual self, soul, whatever you want to call it, mind, consciousness. That is a thing, it exists. Then you have this other thing, the ego, which is also known as darkness, or the small you, the temporary you, the thing that's gonna physically die, as opposed to the who you really are, that is eternal, and that's the body form. It's the costume, or as Miracles calls, the communication device. So concept number one, you've got these two things going on in the world of duality. The upper self, the lower self, they both exist. They go hand in hand in many ways. It's just that we focus on one much more than the other. So concept number one, really simple for spiritual people to embrace. You have the true self, the spirit, the thing that needs to be born again. And then you have the false self, or the temporary self, or the lower self. Okay, concept number one. Concept number two. One is inside the other, or perhaps better put, one is outside the other. So here I have the soul blob inside the head, the soul blob also inside the heart. Here we have, I didn't even put arms on this guy. So here we have the physical form with the spiritual self here and here, okay? And so they coexist in the world of duality in the singular form. The physical form does have the spiritual form in it, but it's really more precise to say that the spiritual form has the ego form around it. It's quite literally like a shirt that the body wears. The spirit is wearing a body, okay? So again, simple concepts. There's a spiritual self. There's a limited physical self. These two things go hand in hand in the physical form. Now, if you get those concepts, we can continue to my favorite passage in Miracles. I'm saying this, the setup, if these following statements are true, and I just grabbed about 5 or 6 of probably hundreds, but if these following statements are true, then what I'm going to read from you and from Miracles also has to be true, okay? And so here's just a couple ideas if these things are true. One, where do your emotions come from? All of our emotions are based upon brain chemistry. Our emotions come from the operations inside our minds. The neurons and the various the neurochemicals that are up there get produced, and then your body has a feeling state. It comes from your brain. And so the way you feel is 100% dependent upon your brain's activity. Well, who controls your brain? Well, you do, of course. Now, you can give it over to others if you want. Allow them, to control your thoughts and your emotions if you want. Or you can fully embrace your circumstances, fully empower yourself by recognizing the peace that I'm seeking comes from my brain. And the heart itself is the feedback loop. If I see it the right way, I'm going to experience it the right way. And that connection, that's the goal, that's the thing that we're seeking, okay? And so that is the spirit that's happening inside of, I'm so distracted, is that running? I wasn't sure if I remembered to turn it on.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay, that's right. See, out there is no big deal. I will forgive myself for not checking, okay? Thank you for checking. So if these things are true, the emotions are being produced inside of our brain, well then who's responsible for the way you feel? Well, of course, you are. The Buddha's last words, strive for your own liberation with diligence. That's pretty clear. Who are you supposed to stay focused on? You and your liberation. Well, what's your liberation? The idea that you're this physical self has to be replaced with the idea that you're this spiritual self, or this mind, or this consciousness, or however you want to think of it. The Buddha's teachings are clearly detachment, letting go of all the trappings of the ego mind. And so those are his last words. That's a thing. That's true. Who's it put the responsibility on? You to liberate yourself. Colossians 1:27, Apostle Paul teaches that the mystery is Christ is in you. It's not much of a mystery the way we just described it, okay? If the spiritual thing could be called the Christ, because you mastered yourself, you awoke, you were born again, the Christ is in you. Well, that's the answer to the mystery. Well, it's in you. That's Colossians 1:27, and Jesus in Matthew 5:14 says, you are the light of the world. Okay, we already have it up here. You're the light. You're not the body of the world. The body, again, Miracle says, is just a communication device. You're the light of the world. Why are you obsessing over the physical world stuff? And as we've done many times, equals MC squared. None of this is actually physical anyways. It's all energy. It's all light. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says it's light within light. All right, so it's all light, right? Well, you're the light. You're not the flesh of the world. You're not the physical part of the world, okay? You are in a way, but the part we're trying to do is access the spiritual part. And we're so ingrained in the physical that we lose the spirit. That's why the introduction of Miracles calls it the barriers to the awareness of love's presence. We all have these barriers, and it comes in ego form. As you remove them, a lot of it through virtue, like forgiveness and mercy and all of that, and also wisdom, to know where you're at in the process is probably pretty far ahead of other people who aren't watching this video. They're not, or they'll mock it, or whatever. They mocked Jesus, blasphemed, called him a blasphemer, and killed him, whatever. And he's like, whatever, do what you got to do. That's the journey, and it's also, the Tao Te Ching says, the proof that you're onto it. Because if you get mistreated, Matthew 10:22, the world's going to hate you because of me. Well, that's because people that follow this journey, they're the ones that are finding the light inside themselves. Everyone else is, most people's response is to recoil because the ego doesn't like it one bit. Cockroaches run away from the dark, or from the light. They want to go into the dark. Vampire stuff, right? They'll suck your blood, but those who are interested will seek it. They'll want to seek you out. They'll see the light in you. That's why Jesus had his disciples, and those who were trying to follow him, they were attracted to the light in him, right? And so that's the light. In physics, it's the observer effect combined with superposition. I've got several videos online about this, but it's the basic idea that the way you see the world is going to change the world that you're in. Superposition is all the variations you could experience. And if you see the world as the ego, the darkness, you're going to have one set of experiences. Well, what if you shift to this understanding that you're spirit, that you're light, that you're an eternal self? Well, the world's going to give you another set of experiences. Jesus has got his experience, he got led down to his crucifixion, and he just had to surrender to it, not my will be done. But anyone who chooses or sees themselves as the light, they're going to get a whole bunch of physical circumstances that backs that up to support it. Again, it's a feedback loop. The universe is affirming your divinity. Is it easy? Well, Jesus only says it's easier than doing it any other way. But of course it's difficult. Crucifixions are tough. It's a very difficult one. But it's a journey that if you're on, you got to see it through to the end. Well, the science backs it up quite nicely. And then we've got Carl Jung, who says if you're looking outside, you're awakening, you're dreaming. If you look inside, you'll awaken. Simple concept again. If you're perceiving externally, you're dreaming. If you're perceiving internally, you're awakening. All right, well, it backs all this up. The external is a dream. The internal is where you're going to find the answers. And so that's what all these teachings are. There's tons more. But if all these things are true, they put the truth inside you, and they put the empowerment inside you to embrace all of it as your function. That's it. It's all you. So here we go with number 4. This verse from ACIM. This is in chapter 27, part 8. This is the hero of the dream. Of course, the hero is anyone who does this. And everyone who chooses to do this, they choose the red pill, so to speak. Anyone who chooses to do this will have the same sort of experience. It'd be a lot different in the way it manifests physically, but the same sort of experience. You're going to get crucified. The ego's going to get killed. You're going to be challenged on multiple levels. And yet it's you the entire time that's doing it. You're the one that set it up. You're the one that's experiencing it. You're the one that's giving birth to your true self. You're remembering who you are. That's what awakening is. And so if you're down with all that, here comes this extremely powerful paragraph from Course in Miracles. The secret of salvation is but this, that you are doing this unto yourself. No matter what the form of attack, this still is true. Whoever takes the role of an enemy and attacker, still this is the truth. Whatever seems to be the cause of any pain and suffering you feel, this is still true. How many times does it have to emphasize this is true? What is it emphasizing? The secret is you're doing this to yourself. For you would not react at all to figures in a dream that you knew you were dreaming. Let them be as hateful and as vicious as they may be. They could have no effect on you unless you failed to recognize it as your dream. This single lesson learned will set you free from all suffering, whatever form it takes. And maybe my favorite line in the book. The Holy Spirit will repeat this one inclusive lesson of deliverance until it has been learned. This is Psalm 23. You're being made to lie beside still waters and in green pastures, and eat in the presence of in a table in the presence of thy enemies. The fact is, you being forced to do this. Once the journey has been started, it's going to happen. You're going to give birth to the higher self, so to speak. And no matter the form of attack, the book, of course, refers to attack thoughts all throughout. Whatever it is, the attack, it's coming from you somehow. Why? It's your emotions, it's your thoughts, your mind that has to respond in kind. All of our issues are going to be ironed out. Matthew 5:48 says to be perfect. It's all illusion. And whatever person you're judging, so to speak, it's going to come back on you anyways. That's the karma of things. Why? Because you're being delivered to the higher self. That's what awakening requires. As Miracle says on page 1, there is the peace that we're looking for, which is found inside ourselves. In heaven, there's no evil, okay? There's no ego there. The perfection aspect is that you remove all barriers. Nobody wants to get a tumor surgery and be told that 98% of the cancer has been removed because 2% is still in there. You will have every button pushed, every single experience, whatever the fear is you're going to go through. All of us will, until that gets evened out and balanced inside your own brain. And of course, the heart then is the feedback loop. So the secret is this: you're dreaming it. Externally, it's a dream, like Jung says. So is Course in Miracles. Jung figured that out well before miracles. Jung also knew that the word Buddha means to wake up. From what? Well, the illusion, of course. What we're experiencing is an external manifestation of an internal state of mind. When you embrace that, what happens to an attack thought? Instead of judging the other, we have to neutralize it inside ourselves with some form of forgiveness and love, as we've talked about for a couple weeks now. My job isn't as an ego to point out the errors of others. My job is to learn and understand, embrace the suck, to take the crucifixion, not my will be done, thy will be done. And if we do that, what angle can it get you from? No matter the form of attack, whoever takes the role of enemy and of attacker, this is still true. Whatever seems to be the cause of any pain and suffering you feel. If it's just a dream, it's like watching a movie, and if the character on the screen is going through something, it's just a movie. You can feel the empathy for the character, but it's still just acting. We as physical beings are like that character. Other beings that we're experiencing are like those characters. And your job is to see it correctly. And what do we offer to them? Just the love and forgiveness. That's how barriers get removed, all of them, by embracing every single aspect of this. So we end with, again, this single lesson. What other lesson need there be? If you embrace all of this as a dream state, if you embrace all of this as an illusion that only the ego holds on to, and you want to get to the higher state, and you recognize that this is a fait accompli, it's gonna happen, you might as well embrace the suck quicker. You might as well embrace the aspect of your divinity quicker. Why did Jesus? He didn't want to do it, not my will be done. He knew he needed to go through it, right? And so he embraced his crucifixion. And then where did he get to go? That's the heavenly realm, so to speak. Metaphor for us. That's the reward for going through the journey. And if you do it for that reason, by the way, that's more ego clinging. And so that's some of Buddhism. That's where that gets ironed out too. Don't think of it in terms of the self gets to experience this. That's not going to work either. That's ego gratification still. It will be burned out of you as well. Each of us have to go through that. And as a result, this one inclusive lesson, why is it inclusive? What does it leave out? Every one of your experiences, every one of everyone else's experiences, all of us on this one point, this inclusive lessons of deliverance will be taught until it is learned. Now this is where you can't fool Mother Nature. The fact is it's going to happen for you if the ball is already rolling, so to speak. You can't put genie back in the bottle. The quicker you embrace all circumstances as an energy lesson for you, this doesn't mean physical surrender. This means emotional trusting. Now you're going to be more effective in your life's work. You're going to be able to address your issues more. You're going to be able to heal relationships. You're going to be able to move on from adversities a lot quicker. This doesn't mean you say, hey, it's okay, government, come on in and take all my money for taxes or whatever. You can fight political battles. You don't have to agree with physical people in politics. You can go ahead and have a spirited fight about it. But it's the spirit that's inside of you that's going to give you a sense of peace, that's going to help you endure, right? It's inclusive because we all benefit as a result, and since we all benefit, we're all joined together in this journey. It's everyone's collective journey, and it's why the Holy Spirit will keep teaching this lesson until it is learned.